convening the meeting, and I will do a roll call of those who are here, obviously. Kate Bliss? No. Rachel Boyer?
Here.
Laurie Fairbay? Absent. Karen Schultz? Absent. Wes Durant? Absent. Pat Wheeler?
Yeah.
Yep. That's a yep from Pat. And Bob Blair, a yup. All right, so we got 3. And Margaret's not here today, but our liaison, Chris Keefe, is. And Victoria Flynn, Council on Aging Director for Berlin. Has everyone diligently read the minutes from our meeting of February, yeah, they probably have read those, from May 25th, 2021? And if so, and also 6/8, the special meeting that we had. And if you have, I would accept a motion to accept the meeting.
Yeah.
The minutes. Oh, that's right. We don't have a, be consistent, Bob. All right, we'll get there. So the unaccepted.
The meeting minutes went out today, guys. If you didn't get it, just let me know.
Yeah, I saw them on my.
Beautiful.
So if this meeting gets boring, just go ahead and read those so you know to vote for it when the time comes, if the time comes. May we hear a report on financial updates?
Okay. So since last meeting, our donations equal $103. My wages are $2,713.45. I'm sorry, $2,713.45. The part-time wages are $2,532.15. So the reason why this one is so high is that there was a approved transfer of $2,000 from the part-time wages over to my wages to cover that gap that was established when I started for that hourly wage. They were aware that there was going to be a gap. So we just, the select board approved just the transfer of money over. So
From
technically.
part-time wages to
my wages.
part-time
Yes.
director, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then expenses are actually pretty high. It's $1,304.87. So this, I've been purchasing some equipment for the COA, as well as, getting some stuff with the Tai Chi classes and things like that. Gas, we had to repay for our postage for the mail slot, things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys an itemized list of all of the items that I've been getting. The end of fiscal year is technically tomorrow night. So what I'm going to do is I will give you guys a full list by end of week of just like what's been purchased. If there's any like questions or anything like that, just let me know. I was trying to think of stuff because I knew that we were going to have this surplus and there were just certain things that I knew we would need, but not to go crazy. So that explains that.
Okay, so yes, a list would be good. So we have a idea. What were you talking about acquiring specifically? Some items for the COA room, I think, right?
So I
cushion
ordered
chair.
actually some chairs. So this is something just as a conversation piece because we can't vote on it. So the town offices are now open. So
Right.
something for the council to think about in general is does the council want to continue meeting through Zoom? Do you want to meet in person or do we want to blend? I did ask Mary to make a link, I think for us for the upcoming fiscal year, just in case, if people wanted to watch the meetings or in case like not everybody could get in person, we could
Yes.
still kind of do the blend. While, again, if people felt comfortable, they could meet in person down here. So
Yes.
I got 8 stackable chairs that have cushions on them. They're like leatherish kind of chairs, but they stack because the chairs that are in here that have the cushions are just falling apart. And I figured, they were a decent deal. So I figured like, at least this way we can get these chairs, we'll have places to sit. It's enough for all of us to gather. And yeah.
If I think I mentioned this probably too long ago to have have been remembered, but there is a place at Fort Devens where you can get apparently well vetted furniture, office furniture and the like, from various places, and they're at very good prices. So if any additional items come up that look like we got, I don't know if we need some better tables in the room, which hopefully will be occupied.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can talk about, next meeting is just
Yep.
something else again for discussion points that I wanted to kind of bring up to you guys as a whole is just expanding potentially activities that the council could offer.
Yes, yeah.
I've actually talked to some people who come for, Tai Chi and yoga, and they actually are out of towners who come to Berlin, specifically for different things. And I've been trying to pick people's brains when they come in for classes, being like, hey, like, is there something that the council on aging could be doing that you would like to see? Like, just name it. If we can't do it, that's fine. But I just kind of wanted to get some ideas bounced. And people were like, I had one person suggest to me about things that would like really kind of like be very like stimulating, like exercise wise, but also like with the mind. Because like this person was like, like I'm just trying to be mindful about like dementia awareness and like trying to stay active and things like that. And I was like, nope, understand. So something else I was thinking about, and again, we can't vote, but we can have a discussion, is maybe like doing like an art group or like a book club, something that like in case like God forbid like COVID comes back and we have to quarantine again, there still would potentially be a way that we could continue it through Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
also, I don't know how tight your connections are with other COA directors in the area, but I mean, a lot of them work out of senior centers, so they have on-hand stuff that goes on all the time, except
Exactly.
wonderful
And
stuff
that,
like COVID.
and I think that stuff that like towards the future we can definitely, I think if we can expand our offerings, the justification for a senior center is definitely there. But I'm just trying to think of like the next fiscal year, like what
Oh,
can,
yeah, absolutely.
because I was thinking about it, like the walls down here, like in the COA meeting room are like white, but they're kind of like dingy white. But I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool like if we had like a painting group and like all the seniors like art got to be on the walls? Like how cool would that be? And it's like, now it's kind of like a seniors place or things like that where it's like, like we also have like a ton of like board games and bingo and cards and stuff like that. Like what if we wanted to do like a game night or a game afternoon or something like that? We
All
could even
good.
have that at like 1870 if we wanted to have a lot of people.
I'd say one difficulty with doing art on the wall is that some seniors would have a hard time standing there and painting on the wall. So it might have to be something on a table that would then get hung on the wall.
You're so funny.
No, that's practical. I know what it's
No,
like
no,
to
no.
be.
I mean like canvases. You know what I mean? Like little
Yeah,
canvases hanging on the wall.
Hang them up after they've done it.
right. That's what I was saying. Why was that funny? Never mind. I think that's a good idea.
Something different that we could kind of offer, because I think that what we're doing is good. But I'm also mindful of our budget, and I'm also mindful too of, every time we add something, it's going to be more of an expense. But I think that there would be justification to do this, and I do think that people would want to be involved in it. I mean, I think just kind of giving people like a variety of options. Not everybody's going to want everything, and that's fine. But I think it might just be good to have a variety of options.
I think I've heard Scott in the select board meetings talk about the percentage of funds in the town budget that actually go for senior activities. And I'm sure this is not new news to anybody or to Chris, and that is that the senior population in town is over 30% of the town total. And the percentage of the town budget that goes to seniors specifically, this is senior activities, is I think under 1%.
Yeah.
So I think Chris told me the other day she was going to bring it up before the select board and suggested at least be 25% for the seniors. Now, is that too big an ask, Chris?
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Gee, there's a space there where Chris used to be. What happened there? Did she?
She got the dogs, Bob. She got the
Headed
dogs.
for the hills. Yeah. Anyway, short of a senior center, which is a super pricey thing, and which always runs into the, well, don't we, pardon me, while the cats attack each other, don't we have already a vibrant activity scene at 19 Carter, which we do, but it still differs in certain ways from what senior centers can offer, because they have separate rooms and you can have multiple activities going on, and they're I think there might be room for both right now. I think I asked at the last meeting, is there any way that the COA can fund or help fund activities that go on at 19 Carter, since they're doing what the COA would do if they had a center? And I was told no. So, okay, I want a senior center. No, so there's some other options short of that, I guess.
Yes. And
Um,
I think something else too to kind of keep in mind as well is, you know, as Berliners continue to age in place, like that is really ultimately our goal, is to age in place and to have people stay in Berlin and be healthy and happy. And you guys all know that I'm a social worker by background, so I look at the whole picture. I look at mental health, physical health, you know, well-being as a whole. Something else like I'm thinking about that I've noticed that a lot of towns have, that again, just conversation piece here, is maybe even trying to see if we can get somebody for like nutrition's sake, or maybe have like some like videos or some information about, you know, like elder nutrition and why is it so important, you know, why, you know, especially like if people have like a lot of comorbidities like diabetes or heart issues, or, you know, again, especially with the heat, why it's so prevalent, you know, especially with the senior population, to make sure that we, you know, help people just try to stay cool, or, you know, kind of give those kind of informational facts out there.
how are you conveying those, or how would you wish to convey those?
Well, I have a contact. She's a dietitian. I'm in the process of reaching out to her just to see, and she does work with, you know, like the senior population as a whole. So I'm trying to see if I can, you know, reach out to her and see if she would be interested in maybe helping us out with, you know, like webinars or something like that, that we like just some sort of information that we could kind of get out there. Because my thought is, if we can kind of have little bits of information and we get positive feedback, then we can kind of hone or tailor kind of what the COA will offer, you know, based on,
Sorry, just,
well,
okay.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna have a cat attack there if I don't break up the fight.
Something else too, just keeping with the heat, we do have bottled water here that we did get for the Berlin Seniors events, that, and we still have a reserve for the Seacoast Stompers, but if you guys are fine with it too, I want to kind of open up the COA room for, you know, the hot days like today, where people can kind of come down if they need to beat the heat.
Didn't we vote on that? I thought we voted
Well, I
on
don't
that.
think we formally voted on it. I sent out an
Special-
email on it, but,
Huh.
and
Does it
we,
require a special?
no, not technically, but just,
I mean, you're basically providing a service from the COA, which we are. I wouldn't imagine we need to vote, but yes, let's provide services from the COA. I mean, that's kind of what we're there for.
right. Because again, like the only thing is, like the days that I'm not here, we would just kind of have to figure out, okay, you know, would somebody want to come down and just like make sure the fans are on, things like that. Like, you know, we could have some activities set up, you know, ready to go. So for like I said, for a day I'm not here, we can get that going.
That speaks to the need for volunteers, which I think is something we are not strong on at this point. It's like,
Well, and
who
that's
jumps
something
in?
that, you know, we can definitely push for more in the coming fiscal year.
I'm not sure, Chris, maybe you can convey more of this idea, but is that your impression of what Scott was talking about, or was he talking about coupling different boards, committees, and agencies in town who have similar service ambitions so that they assist one another and maybe provide manpower, maybe inspiration, maybe help with funding even one another?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think one of the things that would be a good idea is to have recreation provide some services to seniors too.
Yes, that did come up.
Yes, I mean, that's in their charge, but they do tend to concentrate on the kids.
Right.
And years ago, I know there were bus trips and, things like that, that I think, the seniors really liked. They really
Putt
enjoyed.
Bartlett did those, didn't he?
Who did?
Putt Bartlett.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I
Probably.
think he organized them all over the place.
Yeah. And so, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for recreation to work with COA, occasionally, whether it's one of the concerts or programs that they have, sponsored
Right.
previously, but even maybe trips, perhaps, together you could get a bus and
Huh.
go to a restaurant, go to a play, that kind of thing.
Well, I've probably said this enough to put everybody to sleep repeating it, but I worked at Mechanics Hall for 40 years, and there were always, when we had the free brown bag concerts on Wednesdays, there were always anywhere from 8 to 15 vans. I mean, 16, 18 passenger vans from various senior homes and so forth around the area who came and brought their residents, and they could call in advance and reserve 1 or 2 tables of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would typically bring their own food with them, but they could get beverages and so forth. Would fully stock the bar. No, we didn't do the bar. Never mind. I won't go into that. But the bar wasn't part of it. Probably would have brought more people.
Right.
But they did bring. It was very popular. We always had piles of, and so that was actually one of my hopes for the COA van, is that at some point it doesn't hold as many as those activity vans that senior residence facilities do, but
Your van at COA holds 9 passengers? Is that-
it holds 10 plus 2 wheelchairs.
Well, the
Okay.
thing is though, is that for you to really maximize and use the wheelchair lift, like you've got to take some of the chairs out, because
Mhm.
the wheelchair lift, like once you put the wheelchair in, like it takes up like a good, like the last quarter.
Yeah.
I wanted to have like an aisleway, like to kind of squish together the 10 seats and still
Yeah.
have room for the wheelchair, but I'd say it's maybe more 8 plus the wheelchair.
I thought the deal was, once the ramp is in, if you still have you have 2 positions for wheelchairs back there, and then you still
Right,
have.
but the problem is that the way that the floor is, you have to have 2, like there's 2 anchors that have to go into the floor, and those
Oh, yeah.
anchors keep you, like right on top of it, and it's the anchors that would interfere with the chair. It's not the wheelchair itself, it's the anchors.
Mm.
Right, but I'm saying that setup takes the place. I don't know if it's 1 wheelchair and its anchors takes up the place of 1 chair or 2 chairs.
One.
Well, 2. Typically in the van, it has 2 side by side, at least on one side of the van. Like they're not in the middle.
Right. But it would be kind of tight to have, I think, all 10. I think reasonably like 8 in there
Yeah.
would be doable.
Then if there were a lot of people interested in doing, some venue, that you'd have to probably get a bus or
Yeah.
something.
Right.
But I mean, but now with hopefully COVID numbers, going down, and hopefully they stay down, like now we can offer more of these, like, hey, we're going to Walmart. Hey, we're doing this. Like I
Right.
would start offering those trips back up, but as long as, obviously the numbers stay down and, people can jump in and use it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A related question on that is, how are we doing with our van driver recruitment program?
I've been putting fielders out there. It's on the town website, it's on Facebook, but not much nibble.
I apologize for Peggy's failed attempt to lure me into the seat, but actually, I did that for 1 year with kids, but wasn't so bad. But I was young enough I could jump out and go chase them when they ran off from the van or whatever. I'm probably not up to that anymore. Anyway, so we still need to get, if anyone on the board or Chris knows anybody who's perishing to be a driver of a COA van. And what is it, 2 days a week that's open now, or three?
Yeah.
Or,
2 days plus like additional coverage.
I suppose if the program went wild, that we could consider leasing a van or leasing a van service even for a specific event if we envisioned having 15 or 16 people wanting to go. I mean, outfits like AA Bus Company in Shrewsbury and others have various size vans up to 40 passenger jobs. So, all right. So it's a biggie with us to get on the stick and get another driver. And how many days are we covering now? 3 or 4?
Ginny's doing 4 to 5 on her own.
Wow. Yeah, that's probably getting old with her.
Well, it's very like we kind of ask her though for the days like for Tuesday, Thursdays, like we'll ask her like, are you available for this or not? So it's not, she always has the choice. But
If you have different positions that you need help with, that might be something that you would send to Peg. That, you may be looking for volunteers to do certain things and driver for the bus so many days a week, or things like that. After you explain, what the COA does, that might be, a
The bus
reason
driver
to-
position is actually a paid position.
Right.
But I mean, like if somebody wanted to also do it as like a tax write-off, like I'm not suggesting that, but if they wanted to, we could work around that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where are we going? How are we advertising the positions or recruiting people right now? Just through the town website?
Town website, Facebook. I don't know if it's on Berlin Neighbors Connect or not.
Anything in the item?
I don't believe so. I think I probably would be good for the item.
Yeah. I think Clinton has something like 5 drivers, but of course it's a whole lot bigger town. And I
they
think
have 2 or 3 vans. Yeah.
and Hudson runs, I think, 3 vans now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so let's add the item to our Dragnet and see what if we're able to find somebody there. They don't have to be Berlin residents. They just have to be
No.
competent licensed drivers.
Yeah. Yep. They have to submit a query and they have to do a driving background check just for a clean record.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody has any inspirations? Yell. Van ridership is now, what did you say?
Let's see. I mean, it varies day to day. So there's sometimes like where we'll get like 3-4 days a week. There's sometimes where it's like one or 2. So it really just
Wow.
depends.
Yeah. We really need to get the ridership up, not because we want to make people go out and ride in the van just for the sake of filling the seats, but I guess we need to make people aware that it's there for things other than medical appointments and grocery shopping. Or so maybe we are, if we're expanding the ridership, maybe we are getting closer to the point of saying, well, we're going to try out the ride to whatever, Tower Hill. We're going to try out a ride to this, that, or the other. I know the hall in Worcester is not doing concerts yet because of this. They really were slammed shut for a whole year and more. But I don't think, there are other venues that are doing stuff. So we ought to maybe make that possibility aware, make people aware of those possibilities. Tai Chi and yoga classes, you said how many are in them now? And they're where?
Yoga it's still at 1870. And we're doing a mix between virtual and in person. And then it's like chair and regular yoga. We're getting anywhere from like 2 or 3 up to like 10 people total between like in person and virtual.
2 or 3 and how many?
To 10.
10?
It just depends on this. It just depends on the session because we usually have people who are logged on online, and then we usually have people in person. So when I take attendance, I try to get for both.
Not when it's 90 degrees in the room, but when the air conditioning works somewhat usefully, I would, and since the spaces now can be smaller between people,
You okay?
I'm fine. The cats are having a little tete-a-tete there. In any case, for a 14-year-old cat, the old one really gives the other one hell when she gets smart.
Those old ones, you got to look out for them.
You know, them old ones.
The older ones get senile.
These we ought to set up an organization, Cats Are Aging or something or other, but anyway, sound too much like
You
ours.
want to do that subgroup as part of the council, Bob?
Yeah, expanding our offerings to the other world. All right. So what I guess my point was, is the COA room in the basement of the town offices usable for that now that the space between people can be less?
For Tai Chi, it's been working out fine. For yoga, it still may be a little tight. I think what we do is just keep 1870 for yoga for 1 more month, and then let's see how attendance goes.
Yeah.
I suspect that what's going to happen is, especially like as we hit towards fall, we're going to hit more people coming.
Yeah, I would think.
And like if Sharon, for example, like wants to do stuff with like yoga mats and stuff like that, I just want to make sure people are going to have enough room to like physically get around and move and things like that.
Those yogists fling their arms around a lot and legs, or what takes up all the space?
That's more Tai Chi, but I mean, like for Tai Chi right now, we're ranging anywhere from like 2 to 5. So people.
Is that a market that should be bigger and somehow we need to lure people in, or is it typically small like that?
They tended to be smaller classes, in comparison to yoga. However, I do know that a lot of the people that used to go to Tai Chi were also from out of town. And some of their contact information I have, and some of them I don't. So I'm trying to track them down to just be like, hey, it's open again. Please come down and, join.
Well, also I think people can actually go to Clinton and Hudson and Northborough and take those classes too. So maybe some people are.
It depends. I mean, I know that our Tai Chi instructor also does, he also records his own classes as well. Not ours, but different classes that people can also watch online. So
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it's also summertime. So again, I suspect that like if numbers, especially like towards fall, I suspect that it probably will go up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just so we remain open to the possibilities.
Yeah.
Berlin Seniors events. The last one I hear went off pretty well. Not a huge crowd, but an enthusiastic crowd. And Judy said that the performer, Fuentes, really was happy with it. And he got the funding he was hoping for.
Yeah, and then
So
we're all set too for the Seacoast Stompers. So
there you
I did book 1870 just in case it's needed.
Yep.
It's either too hot or the weather's awful. We have 4 cases of water here. I bought 2 for each. So we've got 4 cases of water here to use either, to help for people here in the council, and I'll still reserve the 2 for the Stompers as well. So
Did much get consumed at the Fuentes concert?
I don't know if fire also brought down water, but like maybe a dozen, if even that.
And I think the town provided a couple of guys from the fire department to help setting things up.
So
They picked things up and they put them down. That's what they did, something like that.
we're good there.
And also, who am I thinking of? Steve Bradley, I believe, delivered the chairs. Somebody told me he rolled the whole
Yeah, it was there.
bloody cart down the street.
Yep, it was there.
Yipes.
I brought the tent down, but I don't think it wound up being needed. So
Oh, I thought the school was gonna leave a tent up.
they did, but it's on the other side of the gazebo.
It's on the other side of what?
It was on the other side of the gazebo.
Oh,
It was
Huh.
like, yeah.
oh, so it's behind the performer?
Yeah,
Huh.
it wasn't like right near where people were setting up.
So
So,
note to self, the next concert, we'll have to put the performer on one of those turntables so he faces everybody all around the gazebo or something. If he doesn't get dizzy in the process.
um,
So the next one is the Seacoast Stompers, and that's July 25th.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. And the COA is helping out with that. That's good. It's good. I don't think.
So did they end up staying at the venue at the school, I assume? Okay. It was, how many attendees? Any idea?
I came just to drop off the tent like an hour before it started, and there was like 8 people. But I don't know, like closer to 3, I don't know.
Yeah, Judy said she thinks the count was maybe total around 40 at the
Really?
time of the concert, which isn't a bad turnout.
No.
I think some people were worried it was going to be too hot or not shady enough, but there's good shade on the tree side of the gazebo, and this guy, the performer, Tony Fuentes, walks around in the crowd too, so that all works out. Any outdoor thing is always subject to the vagaries of weather, so you're either
Right.
you're cursed sometimes whether you think you planned it out or not.
All right. Is there anything for today?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, is there anything else? Because we talked about like new ideas for next fiscal year. Powder House, Peggy dropped him off to the mail, to the post office yesterday.
Okay, so we should be seeing them the next day or two, unless they sent them by way of Dubuque, Iowa or something. That's good. Meetings going forward in person, online, or both. And we discussed that, I think. I don't know, how do the rest of you feel? Pat, Rachel?
I'm fine either way. I mean, I feel comfortable now that I'm vaccinated. So I think it would be nice to meet you guys in person. Well, Bob, I've met you, but be nice to meet in person at some point.
With the,
Yeah. You like in person, Pat?
pardon?
You said you like to have the meetings in person?
Yep,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think the idea of being able to have them seen by somebody not there, though, is a good option. For whatever reason, some people are just not comfortable traveling, and sitting arrangements or what, for a variety of reasons. I think it's good to have it available remotely as well.
My recommendation would be to do a blend, because I think doing the best of both, especially like in case, you know, God forbid, like restrictions change, or there's ever like a bad weather, or like somebody has like an emergency, like, and they can't be there in person. I do think that the blend is best. And but I mean, like I said, I'm for either way. It's really whatever the council's most comfortable with. I'm fine with it. I'm here anyway, regardless. So it doesn't matter to me in terms of that. It's really just what everybody's preference will be. You know, what we can do is I'll book the room for July. And then what we can do is, again, if people feel comfortable meeting in person, you know, we can, and we have a quorum at that point, you know, we can pursue it going forward as, you know, voting to meet in person. But you know, I think, you know, I can certainly just reserve the room for July, and then, you know, like I said, hopefully we'll have a quorum and we can vote going forward.
Which room would you reserve? We wouldn't meet in the COA offices?
We could meet in COA offices, or we could meet upstairs, like in the 2 meeting rooms, like upstairs. Just because I think that I know Margaret, and she can kind of testify to this. I think we were trying to get it set up where I think where you could do like the interactive with, you know, being in person, but also having an interactive. Hi.
Hi. Oops.
hi.
Sorry, I'm just.
I think-
You're on.
Margaret.
If I look like if it looks like I'm looking up, it's because I'm looking at my other screen above where my my camera is so.
You're multitasking, you're saying.
I am. So Victoria's referring to hybrid meetings, which there could be some technology set up to allow for a combo in-person Zoom meeting. We haven't gotten that technology in place just yet. But the in-person meeting would always take precedence over the Zoom meeting if you're going to do a hybrid meeting. So it would be as a convenience for the public if they'd like to attend.
Yeah.
People get more involved when they meet in person.
Mm-hmm.
And we could still set up the Zoom link and record it like we do now, and then just let people in to the meeting as well. You know, if we do meet downstairs, which I'm fine with.
Yeah. I think that's a route we ought to pursue.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Good. So our next meeting is what date?
It's
July
gonna be July, I think it's July
27th.
27th.
Yep, at 4 o'clock.
4
And like I
p.m.
said, at this point, we didn't vote on anything today, so we'll just have more to vote on for next time, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it was a good discussion, just to kind of get some feedback.
Just
I agree.
looking at this Powderhouse News, and the next Powderhouse News deadline would be
It is
August
August 20th. I'm looking at my calendar.
August 20th.
Yep. So that's when the submission deadline is. So I would say, I always try to give Lori a week because I don't want her bombarded at the end. So I do cut off a week before, so that would be the 13th. For basically people getting us their stuff.
It also allows a little couple of days for slop over because sometimes things don't quite gel by the desired date. This time I'm happy to see though that the thing will actually be in people's hands before the beginning of the month that it applies to. We've had
It does
a
make
couple
me
of
happy.
days where they didn't get it until a week into the month, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it was an interesting one this month because they said it was supposed to come Monday and I was like, okay. And then it came Friday afternoon. And I was like, okay, never mind then. So worked out.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone have any other business?
Well, thanks for coming, guys.
Hearing none,
Thank
I
you.
would accept a motion
I
that
did
I
that
cannot,
as if it-
I'm getting there. I'm accepting a motion that I cannot entertain because we don't have enough people, so goodbye.